Hello everyone and welcome. We are going to take a look today on how the garden is doing in July. So this is going to be the July garden tour, and we're going to start here at the plot again like we started last time. So there's a little construction noise in the background, so I'm going to apologize for that here now in the beginning. So here's a little overview. It's a little shaded here where I am, but we're gonna walk and see how everything is doing all the way to the back in there. The echinacea here on this side is looking nice, but it's a weedy mess on this area, so we're gonna skip that. We're gonna move on to the next parts. Here on this side I planted some sunflowers where the ranunculus was. Actually my friend Aubrey did it, and it's looking really good. They're growing, coming along nicely. Over here we have a little wildflower-ish patch with lots of pollinators. Bees are enjoying all of those little flowers in here. Looking a little bit overgrown, but it's fine, it looks okay. And then here I have the zinnias, where unfortunately have succumbed most of them to powdery mildew. So they're looking very pretty on the June garden tour. Now they are not doing as nice, but that's okay. We enjoyed a lot of them, and I'm gonna think about what I'm gonna plant here instead. I might have to remove most of the zinnias in here, and the zinnias here on this side also are not looking as good. So I'm glad I actually could catch on camera their beauty on June, and now it's been so hot and humid that it's been a little hard for them to stay. I decided to take out lots of the ones that were here. Thankfully I was able to save seed from some of them. And here I have the peppers, which are ripening very fast. We were gone for a few days and then lots of them turned red. I've got to harvest all of this today. There's some other red peppers all the way in the back here also, but I'm going to start with these ones. So I thought those were pimento peppers, and I had to look up on the package again because they're looking so big, and it did say they're pimentos. They are, but there's a different variety I guess, and they're so big. So this is a very large pimento pepper. I thought it would be smaller, like a cherry pepper. I'm gonna harvest all of this, guys, and probably try to make pimento cheese. We'll see, or maybe stuff them or something, but we'll try to cook with them this week because I have a few. Some of these here are growing very low because this plant got nibbled by a bird, and I don't actually know if I want to harvest those. They're touching the soil, not looking very great. I might just put that in the compost later, but we got some 4 nice ones, and I have some more in my backyard. The jalapeno peppers are still doing great in here. I have so much jalapenos at home, but I'm gonna have to start harvesting more because they're starting to get the skin like this. I know that can happen to jalapeno, but I'll be honest, I don't really remember why. But since they're sort of, you know, doing this with the skin, I'm gonna go ahead and harvest. I have 6 jalapeno plants in here, and they are producing like crazy. I have never had so many jalapenos in a garden like I'm having this year. And then for the future note for myself, I think 6 is definitely enough, or even maybe 4 next time, because I've been trying to do stuff with them, but we have been harvesting a lot more than we can eat. But it's okay. I've made a lot of salsa, and I'm thinking to maybe make jalapeno poppers with those. And I still want to do maple pickled jalapeno, which I probably have to start doing this week with some of the peppers that I already have. I have a whole bag of jalapenos in my fridge, already harvested, and oh my gosh, there's so much more. These are looking little, but they are doing this little, I don't know how to say, the skin is getting, it's like stretch marks or something. They're perfectly fine to eat, but they just look a little funny. Sometimes I see the ones in the farmer's market doing that too, so I'm not worried about it. I have to read about what that happens again. Why that happens, I don't really remember, but I think that should be enough for now. If I don't find, oh no, there's a lot more underneath here that are also doing this stuff, so I'm gonna harvest. These are smaller, not as big as I wish it would be, but it's alright. These other ones here are big. Some more over here. Oh my gosh, that one is turning red already. This one is kind of turning red, and I have a couple more. Oh, it's hard to actually have the camera showing when all these cages in here. I'll try, but Anyways, this is what we got for today. I'm gonna stop because I'll just one more because this is also turning red, because we do have a lot at home. But I'll leave this basket in here and we're gonna move on to this side. Those here in the back are called Togarashi pepper, and that plant is loaded. I also have a poblano, I think, all the way in there. If you guys can see, I might leave it in there for a couple more days to get bigger, but I'm gonna take these red Togarashi peppers and I'm going to plant. They're not very spicy. I've ate a few already. I'm going to plant to actually dry those. I wanted to grow them to make the Togarashi spice, and I've been eating them raw. Oh, not raw, sorry, fresh, putting them in curries and stuff, stir fries, and it's been great. But I'm going to start drying them to make powder so I can preserve them for the winter. Okay, that's very good. And let's check the other side. I don't see any red in here. Oops, I guess I missed one back there, but some more jalapenos that I could take. Oh my gosh, so many. There's a lot of, but I might do another big harvest around next week. But this one I'm gonna wait until it gets fully red. Let me see if there's another. It looks like there's another red one in here. Oh, this is a jalapeno. Look at that, turned fully red already. I accidentally put this jalapeno plant in the middle of the two Togarashi. Maybe it was an accident when I was planting, but that looks nice. So here it is. Okay, I'm gonna grab our basket and we're going to move on to our tomatoes. But first I want to show you, we finally got the arch trellis full of greens. I really wanted this to happen this year. And the beans are climbing out nicely. It took a long time to grow, but they finally caught up. Those are the scarlet runner beans, which are very pretty. That's beautiful orange color. And on this side I have this nice long noodle beans. They're finally starting to produce too, which I love. Those are my favorite green beans to eat. The red and the green both. And I have a squash, a honey squash, which already produced one and it's looking nice in there. I'm protecting with this bag because of the squirrels, but the plant grew super fast. So I planted over here in the corner and then has climbed all the way together with the beans in there. See a flower, hard to see with the sun, and it's coming all the way here. Here's the tip, and I'm debating if I wanted to grow down here in the trellis or just let it go over that string. I had to put the strings in there. I did it a little earlier because, let me go farther back a little bit so you guys can see, because the trellis is getting pulled to this side because of the weight of the tomatoes. I'm trellising them with the string in there. I'm not sure if you can really see in the camera, but it's definitely leaning over to that side, and I wanted to balance out the weight with that side. Didn't really work, but I tried. But the tomatoes are growing so tall now that they passed my trellis and my string, just going crazy all the way over there. So I harvested lots and lots and lots of tomatoes in July. It was great. Most of the first batch of the things are maturing. I have harvested by mid-July. We were harvesting about every day, and now we're gone for a few days, and the tomatoes actually, some of them got ripe. I never really let them stay this ripe on the vine. I like to catch them when they're blushing. Wait one second, look. Oh, I might need to use my pruners for this. I don't want to damage this plant. Since we were gone and we ate so many tomatoes in our trip because I took a bunch of the tomatoes from here, I decided to leave this one in here, oops, to show you guys. That's going to be a little hard to do it with the camera. I'm going to need both of my hands. Hopefully it'll be okay to film because I don't want to fall. Okay. This is a striped German. So it's a yellow tomato, very tasty, and gets red in the middle and in the bottom. This is not feeling soft yet, but it's almost fully ripe. And I have another one here, not a striped German, another tomato that's ripe right over here. This is an Amish paste. This is bagged because I was worried the squirrels will get them, the rodents, so this one should be easier to pick. Nice and red. They always split because it's been raining, but it's fine. We just cut that part off and still eat. And I'm gonna take this bag. I'm gonna have to come here this week too and rebag a lot of the new fruit that's been appearing. There's not as many on this side, but if we go back to this side here, you can see there's some fruit that's lower to the bottom. I'm actually gonna do that now since I'm here. and I'm going to just protect those other two as well so they don't get nibbled by anything before we get a chance to eat them. So we're just gonna do that. Put that leaf in there. I'm closing it nicely because the birds, man, sometimes they go inside there. I saw one trying to get in and get the, you know, and trying to nibble on the tomatoes, but now it's nice and tight. That's good. There's another one here. This one I believe is it's also striped German. The ones back here with these nice stripes are orange jasp, but all green, and back there I had a Cherokee purple. So these guys gave its first flush and then got really hot and it was not setting any more flowers, but now they're growing back again and hopefully have a nice second flush in, you know, in August, September. There's still a lot of fruit in the vine, so we're still going to be harvesting for a little bit, which is good. But I'm excited to see new flowers and new tomato setting for maybe the fall or September. But here, this side, the tomatoes are not looking as good. They are not as robust as these guys over here. Those are kind of more specialty varieties and they're looking a little bit wimpy. And I had to remove a lot of the leaves because at this time of the year too, you know, disease are starting to set. So they're not looking as great and there's not as many tomatoes left. There's some setting on the top. Some new tomatoes are gonna grow. So we'll see how they will do. And there's a bean growing over this guy here, volunteer bean. And maybe this is muddling a little bit, but it's fine. I'm letting it grow. This is a nice red pink bean. I'm gonna harvest a few too. And I missed a few of them where I was traveling, see, and they got dry. But I think I will let it dry on the plant. I have plenty of beans on this wall that I did not plant. This is all volunteer from last year. You know, some beans that fell in the ground and they're all growing up in here again. I'm letting them dry because I don't need any more green beans. We ate a lot of it already, so just a few here and there is fine for us. Here on that side I have the eggplant, which is doing excellent this year also, and back there I have some okra and I have basil that's so tall, and this is not, it's new as a squash that I was just planted. I don't remember if I had planted in June in the garden tour, and it's now huge and massive like this and has a massive fruit underneath also that my friend Aubrey that looked after the garden while I was gone tried to protect with the container, but it looks like it outgrew the container over there. We'll take a look at that in a minute. First we're going to harvest some eggplants from this patch, which has been producing so much. We've been eating a lot of eggplant, which is great because I never really got a good year for eggplant before, but this year we're getting more than we asked for, and I am not complaining because I'm enjoying to eat them so much. There's so many things you can do with them. I'm making lots of green curry, which is my favorite thing to do with the long ones. I just got the first of this Black Beauty eggplant. This one's a little slower than others, but it did produce a big one, and I made a baba ganoush and it was so good. And then we've been with these fairy tales eggplants, just been sauteing them, roasting them, and adding them to dishes. So easy, they're nice and tender. This passed its prime a little bit and looking a little lighter because I was gone. But we're gonna harvest a lot of them today. This has been producing a lot. It's a small plant, but oh my god, it is prolific. It is incredible how much we have harvested from it. I haven't not been weighing as much as I intended to in the beginning of the season, but we did harvest a lot, more than I expected. So, but I can't tell you exactly how many pounds. So let's take these guys out of there first. So July has definitely been a very productive month for us. Usually I get a bit burned out by this time, but this year I'm feeling really good that we're getting so much harvest, and I've been much better about cooking with everything. Trying to, you know, meal prep. It's hard to me to film videos of doing it because I just want to do it fast and, you know, get things done. In the past I would save them to make videos, wouldn't make the videos, and it would just be like so much stress added. So I'm gonna try to share some more cooking, but it's just, you know, nice to use them up too as we harvest and when you have time to get those things done. This is how our harvest basket looks so far. And I guess harvesting was part of the game in July. It's mostly what I'm doing in the garden. It's even hard sometimes to do maintenance. I just keep coming here when I have time and harvest, trying to take the things before the critters, you know, take the things from us. But everything is good. So you see those big eggplants in there? I'm gonna go harvest those as well. I'm filming this video a little later today and it is so hot already. My goodness. Gotta try to come earlier in the morning. Got caught up with a few things, but it is getting really hot really early. Okay, there we go. I think I planted more plants of this. It's been very prolific, but I think next year I want to do more of the black ones. This one's last longer. This get blemished really easy. I have to use within 2 or 3 days after harvesting. And here, let's move on now to our 2 different eggplants. This is the ones my friend gave me, haven't produced any fruit yet. And the okra. Oops, I just noticed here this one fell. And it has a really big one that's past its prime over there too. Let me see if I can just break this. Usually, I don't want to pull the plant out, so I'm just gonna have to use my pruners. Alright, so just cut this. And hope that plant will kind of, I'm gonna have to give it a little bit of support. And then there's a couple more okras on this side as well. My goodness, this one here is so big. That's not edible. It's gonna be way too fibrous. I definitely should have come earlier. The okra is crazy. Within 1 to 2 days, they just grow so much. And then I have some of these fat ones over here. These are very nice. We enjoy eating those. Forgot the variety of this, but I probably say this in a planting video. This one is a heavy hitter, this big one. It's called heavy hitter okra. It's supposed to be very prolific. This one I think is like Red Hill Country or something. Oh, there's more. I'll harvest them little like this. Or maybe not, maybe it's too little. Wait for a couple more days. Alright, so this is our little harvest from this side over here. And back here is my failed experiment, which I talked in videos before with my 3 sister garden that didn't work. Gotta take a look at, address some stuff in there. There's some mushrooms growing here, which is kind of cool. Those are like some bird nest mushrooms, so some composting situations happening there, and hopefully the soil will be better for next year. We have a little native garden behind here, pollinator garden, which all this bee balm that's now dropped its petals and it's making seed. Unfortunately, it like got lots of powdery mildew on them, but that's alright. It's part of the game this time of the year, I guess. Same with the zinnias. Here I have some black-eyed Susans back here that are about to bloom. Those are the little ones. Then some milkweed in the back that already bloomed. It's now doing these lovely seed pods, and I hope that all the seeds drop in here and we get a lot more next year. And back here I have this eucalyptus, which is overwintered from last year without any protection, and it's doing so much nicer than the one that I have in my pot in the backyard, just being in the ground like this. It's so nice, it smells so good. I gotta come and harvest some this week too for some floral bouquets, some arrangements. And here I have my leftover dahlias that are planted here. The ones in my backyard are very nice. I can't wait to show you guys. But these were planted a little later, so they're not fully blooming yet. I cut a couple from there, but this one is almost open. This is the Colorado Classic. But in a couple more weeks, they should be looking all nice and colorful. I need to find some time to come and stake them here because they get heavy once they're flowering, and sometimes they fall, and the rainfall can take a toll on them too. Here I have some pincushion flower that volunteered from last year. Here I have this massive basil. It's from Joni's. I think I talked about the variety last garden tour, but it's so big and so tasty. We've been using lots of this Thai basil for cooking. And I'm going to harvest, not now because it's too hot. Last time I harvested the ones hot was not good. They wilted before I got home. So I'll come here in the evening and harvest some more if I decide to cook with it. But I just harvested a bunch from this plant, almost the whole top, and it's growing back nicely too. Back here we have some gomphrena, which is looking nice. It's new to me, but it's looking very pretty in there. Just don't know really when to harvest for bouquets, but we'll see. I'll make some experiments this week. The straw flower, I took out some of the the open flowers because they were kind of going to seed, and decided to leave just an unopened one, and maybe I'll be able to cut a few for some bouquets for the home too. So this side is mostly flowers and that side was mostly vegetables over there, but I do have a squash in here, massive, that is covered with this little container. This is a patty pan squash. Oh my god, the container is completely stuck to it. Let me use my pruners to cut it. I also have one in my backyard, same variety, that has a couple babies, a couple squashes, and one of them, oops, it's big like this. And I kind of left it when I came for vacation because I wanted to show you guys, but you know, it was in the ground too, so, and I have a rodent problem in here, but maybe I'll peel it and just shred it and do some, you know, cook it down with something. So here's the squash with the container that can't really come off. Let me try to take it out real quick. Okay, not too bad. All right, definitely over. It's not as nice and small as you get in the farmer's market, but we'll see how we can use this too. Put on top of my tomatoes because it's so heavy. I'll put it in here. And we got a couple more to harvest at home too. I want to clean up this dirt before I put in there. So that's it. Take this out of the way. And this guy is doing a lot better than the one I have in my backyard, because the one in the backyard is in a container, sorry. And I planted this a little later, but I find that this squash in the ground always do so much better than the ones in pots. I only have mine in a 5-gallon bucket, so maybe needed more space, but it's looking really pretty this time. And no vine border damage so far because I planted late, so hopefully we have a good squash here this year. And then back here we have some coreopsis at the end of their lives. Rudbeckia also kind of fading out back there. These beans are growing, taking over this trellis, which I'm very happy about too. Look how pretty the other ones look from this side with the light. Oh, I love that color. And those red ones, the red colored beans, they also attract hummingbirds, so it's very exciting. But this side here I have this lemon verbena, which I grow for tea, but this year I am just letting it be because it's getting so big in the garden. I just want to see how big it's going to get, but it has a very, very, very good lemony, wonderful smell. It's my favorite smell. I always say this in the videos, but that's true. But it's getting super big. Sorry about my shadow, and I'm not mad about that. And then back there I had beautiful sunflowers 2 weeks ago, and they all have faded, but the birds are going crazy with them, and they're loving to eat the seeds, so I'm leaving them in here so they have something to eat. I love encouraging birds in the garden because they eat lots of bugs. So these sunflowers, even though they don't look good, they're serving a nice function here, purpose, so they will stay there. I did cut some, but also a lot of the heads got taken by rodents, maybe squirrels. I've seen a squirrel eating one too, making a mess, but we'll leave it in there for now. And this rudbeckias here have been blooming for a long time, but they also may be phasing out, I'm not sure, but they're looking beautiful. So that's mostly it here for the plot. Ooh, it's getting really hot. We're gonna take a walk to our backyard. I have a little zinnia in here, Alpenglow zinnia, that I planted later, but still has powdery mildew. Oh, actually, you know what? I forgot to show the fig tree and the grapevine. So the fig tree had some mature figs. There's lots of little ones still, and the grapevine is a mess in there. I'm not gonna walk in there. The birds are going crazy, eating the grapes already. There's a lot of them, like dropped a bunch of stuff on the floor. Just saw a bird in there, so we're not gonna go in there. But this grapevine is just not as big as usual. It didn't get us out of control as most years, but the birds are just feasting and eating on the grapes, so we're not gonna get any again. All right, now we're just gonna look at a couple more things in here and take a walk all the way over there to the flower plot. So I have my potatoes in here that I don't know if they're doing great because the soil that I put in here was not the greatest. They're growing, but they're looking a little spindly. They haven't died yet, which is a good sign too. And then we have the turmeric, which is looking amazing. Look how nice this turmeric look. It grows so much, and it grew so much in a month. It's amazing. Hopefully have at least a very good turmeric harvest this year. Now let's move on and take a look at the other plot. So this is the little flower plot. It's looking very nice. Unfortunately, we have lots of powdery mildew on the zinnias too, but they put a lot of growth. They did very well for the first year, and for us not really knowing what was going to happen, you know, planting things in this space that haven't been cultivated for at least 4 years the time that I've been here. But the zinnias look nice. This big tree here is giving a lot of shade, so the ones in the back are not growing as much as the ones in the front, which is okay. And we sold some beans in here. This is the same scarlet runner beans and these poles, and they're climbing, doing nice as well. And here we have a cantaloupe that a neighbor that lives on this building over here where this flower plot is, this plot is behind, gave us seeds from. He said it was from Italy, and he asked me to plant. So I planted over here, and I'm trying to see if we'll climb over this fig tree and eventually make all the way up to this trellis here. Let's see. It's doing well though, even though it's in the shade in here. It has a lot of leaf growth, looking nice and healthy. So hopefully in a month it will climb all the way here, or maybe even in a couple of weeks. So now we can take a look at the flowers. Here's a very shaded area, so there's not as much going on, but this one's here, even though they're small, look how pretty this one is. This is a queen lime blush, I think, and it's looking super pretty in here. Unfortunately, getting lots of powdery mildew too. It's very hard for us here with zinnias at this time of the year, but I tried anyway because I wanted to, you know, bring some beauty to the neighborhood and grow some flowers in here so the people passing by could enjoy them. But the ones back here are looking very nice, so bringing a lot of color. So that's good, because that's the ones by the fence. That's where most people pass by here. It's an alleyway, but people walk the dogs in here or come to the cars, and it's just nice to look at something pretty in the city. So this is the unicorn mix from Floret, all mixed up in here. Came with lots of different colors, but a lot lighter than I thought it would be. A lot of this light pink and light orange. The ones in my plot, the other plot, the first one, a little darker, but these guys are super light in here for some reason. There's a good color here. I like this one. It's kind of a orange-ish, more, or warm peach. I prefer colors with this tone. It's more, I don't know, sunset-like. I really like that, enjoy that more like this than super pale like that. But I understand, you know, people like pastels too. I don't dislike it, but I thought the colors would be a bit stronger on the unicorn mix. And here I have some banner giants. This is the salmon rose, I believe. Oh my gosh, and this is gorgeous. Those are very, very, very pretty. I'm definitely going to be growing more of this variety again. I tried to do the fancy florets, but these tried and true banner giants are really good, even though they are having powdery mildew problems. Even though they're supposed to be resistant to powdery mildew, it's just so bad here for us that even them, they can't, you know, escape. But they're still producing flowers and still looking pretty. It looks nice from a distance. I think most people that walk by don't really notice the stuff on the leaves, so that's alright. That was the whole point of growing flowers in here, just to add a little pop of color and brightness to the neighborhood. So hopefully they will still keep going for a few more weeks before we have to take them down. But they grew. They grew a lot from the when we just posted. I think it was in May when I showed this first. When we just had set this space up, we documented how we did everything in here, and it's looking nice, better than we expected. At least I have said about the powdery mildew, but it's sort of the reality in here. And we have some celosia here that's growing under this fig tree that grew so much, but it's still doing well. This is just a mix of colors, but she's looking very nice. And here we have a Oklahoma ivory. That was my friend's Aubrey seed. She wanted to plant some in here too, so she did some of this ivory and that yellow that was from her over there. So that's it, and this is it for the flower plot. This one is very pretty. I think this is a queen lime orange. I love this sort of antique color on this one. It's very nice. Okay, let's finally take a walk to my backyard now and do some more harvesting, because it's getting really hot. I'm gonna harvest this stuff as soon as I can. Alright, so after a 10-minute walk, we're home. Here's the backyard. I'm gonna put our harvest in here, and I'm going to show you guys around. It's looking nice in here. Have tons of tomatoes on this grain stalk over here. Overall, it's looking good. I cleaned up a bit, so it looks nice here in the garden tour. And on this side we have the beautiful dahlias, and we're gonna start here because I'm very excited to show them to you guys. So here we have the Cornell bronze. So beautiful. These are from tubers that I saved from last year, stored overwintered, pre-sprouted, and planted in here. I love this one. I planted 2 plants of Cornell bronze in here because I wanted to have a lot of them. This one, I like to grow flowers for cutting, and I'm also even fortunate to sell some bouquets for some neighbors that they're interested in the flowers. So these are really good for the vase. Dahlias usually don't have a long vase life, but this one has a little bit of a longer one, so it's nice to have that in bouquets. And here we have this absolutely gorgeous, I think she's my favorite, peaches and cream. This is from a tuber I saved last year too, and oh my god, this year she looks even more amazing than she did last year. This colors on the petals, the way it fades is just so beautiful. I got some fancy ones too from KA's Santa Cruz Dahlias, which she's a very famous hybridizer. But to be honest, I'm still really in love with peaches and cream in here. Those look nice. They're passing their prime a bit, but I am going to collect some seeds from this guy, so I've tagged them to save seed, and hopefully in August I'll have some big open ones that I can show you guys. But here I have another one. I think this is called Rock and Run Ashley, and I don't know if I really like it. It's a lot lighter than I thought. I prefer peachy tones. It's more light pink or purplish, but it's okay. It's still beautiful. It's still gonna use for bouquets, and to, you know, it's always nice to have it to cheer up the yard. And this is a gorgeous labyrinth, which I also grew last year, and I saved the tubers and I planted some more. I also was able to gift a bunch to people because this one produced lots of tubers last year that survived the winter. I only planted 2 here in the garden because of space, and I want to try new things, but I kind of regret it. I wish I had planted 4 because she's just so beautiful, but she does not last long in the vase. This is more like an event flower if you're, you know, cutting, but still very pretty. I like just looking at her, so I wish I had a lot more. I have more varieties growing here, but those are the ones blooming. I hope that maybe in a couple more weeks we have all of this fence here, this side of the garden, full of blooms. I can't wait for that. And this is just the beginning of them starting to pop up, so hopefully we have tons of beautiful blooms and color here in just a few weeks. Here I have a few plants here on the pots, nothing really interesting. Here's the eucalyptus that I showed you guys. This is the same as the other one. It was overwintered too, but in this pot, and obviously the one in the ground there is doing a lot nicer. I have a few random things in here, some oregano. Those plants I don't really know what they are. My friend gifted to me, and I didn't label them, so I'm waiting for them to flower. This is another dahlia that I didn't have space for, and I decided to put it by herself in this big pot, and we were waiting for it to flower too. It's called Kilgai Ann. It's a water lily type, so I'm very excited to see this one. Hopefully in the next garden tour it will be blooming. And I have a couple butterfly bushes that my friend also gifted me cuttings for, and I didn't know where to put them, so I put in these pots temporarily, and they are flowering, which is very nice even with little space, so that's kind of cool. The ignition here is kind of phasing out, starting to look faded and old, but I'm gonna leave in there. Maybe the birds will come eat the seeds, or I can maybe try save the seeds for next year. I'm not sure. And the snapdragons here, it's a bit too hot for them, but they look to have been sort of getting a new flush or coming back to life. They're looking nice and green back there, so let's see what happens. But what I'm very surprised here in this bed is this pear tree this year. It's loaded with fruits and it's healthy. I mean, not healthy, it still has some disease, but it has not as many disease. You know, the disease not spread as much as it has had in the past, so it's making these very beautiful juicy pears that's looking like we're gonna be able to harvest maybe in a couple more weeks. So I've harvested them in August before, but mostly I guess in September. Once they start dropping, that's when I know to harvest them, but they're looking really good. We're very impressed. I'm excited to try to do some preserving projects with them so we can enjoy them through the winter. But that was a nice surprise for this year. Here we have the green stalk. Man, it's been so hot for these guys, poor babies. I've been trying my best to try to get these pansies to survive because they like the cool weather, and I like to use these flowers for garnishing food. I work as a private chef, and I like to make nice salads for my clients, and I like to take flowers from the garden to do that too. And I've been trying my best to keep them alive, but they're just struggling. I cut it a bunch, trying to prune and trying to encourage new growth. Some is growing, trying to push this to keep in a bit more of a shaded area, but it's just too hot for them. But we'll see. I still have some hope that it will, that will probably pick back up. I have some herbs in here. The thyme is looking great. Lemon thyme. The rosemary is looking great. There's a kale back there, a little smushed. I gotta harvest, but not today. It's too hot now to harvest leafy greens. Some beets are still growing. I harvested some nice beets from here, so I'm excited. Now that I harvest some from the side, there's more space, so hopefully these guys can grow a little more too and get nice and big. Here we have some other things in pots. I have the strawberry. It's an everbearing strawberry, and it's produced little plants. It's like an alpine kind, but it's just like hard to keep up with. I don't know if I really like this little one. I mean, I like it, but it's like maybe next year I'll try the bigger ones so I can freeze and preserve it, do some other project with it. This one's a little harder, very seedy. Those rudbeckias here look nice. They've been blooming for a while and adding some beauty to the garden. I'm not cutting those are just here for the pollinators. And here I have cherry tomato. I'm growing my cherry tomatoes here in the backyard, and the big ones in the plot like you guys saw. And these guys are really good. Oh, they're splitting. It rained yesterday, so they got a little split, but this is very nice and smoky and sweet. It's a hit or miss. I have harvested some that taste watery and a little bit acidic, and then I have harvested some that taste delicious and sweet and smoky. So I don't know, maybe the rain plays a big role with it, or the time that I harvest. Sometimes I feel like from the same plant I get delicious ones and watery ones, so I gotta do some more research about that. Here I have the same squash I had over there, I showed you guys, but see how much bigger the one in the plot is, and I planted this one first. Started both seeds the same day, and I got a few fruit in here. This one has 2, but so it's more supposed to kind of harvest when it's smaller like this, nice and tender, and this one is getting kind of big. Oh, but it's prettier, so nice as the one in the plot. Not as big as the one in the plot. I think this one is still very nice to eat, very nice. And actually, you know, I should get another basket. Oh, the one's right here. Put them together to compare. See, this one looks nice. After I harvest this one, I might get another basket for the tomatoes because we have a lot on the green stalk. This one struggled a bit for space, but that's nice as well. So we have 3, and we have some peppers and eggplants in here too. I'm gonna harvest this. They're getting a little white. They're not doing as well. I mean, they're beautiful. The plant's nice and healthy. They produce good, but I really prefer the fairy tale. And these ones are getting white very fast. I'm not sure why. And I got these jalapenos here too. They're most turning color. Actually, you know what? Maybe I'll wait for those to turn red and then keep harvesting. But you guys see so many jalapenos, so prolific. Year of eggplants and jalapenos for us, which is good. And here in this green stalk, the beans that I planted, some sprouted, some didn't. So I'm a little bit disappointed. I was hoping to have tons of little beans growing out of the pockets, but I direct sowed them. So, you know, I always take a risk when you direct sow. But some of them did grow, so we'll enjoy some beans. This squash is looking nice. Remember how little it was when I was planting those beans? Just a couple leaves. Now it's starting to look nice and big. It's a compacted variety. It's supposed to be compact for containers. So you'll see how much more that's going to grow. And this is going to be a green zucchini. Kale is still looking nice in there, and I'm very surprised by this broccoli. You guys, look at this. I cannot believe I cut this in the beginning of the summer because, you know, broccoli doesn't like the heat, and I just left it there, and I cannot believe it sent this crazy big stem over here, healthy, and is about to probably give us a very nice head of broccoli too very soon. I'm so impressed. This kind of happened last year too, and I was like, oh, I'm not sure if it's gonna happen this year, but it did, and I'm very happy it did. So now I kind of regret taking all of the broccoli. Should have left some more. There's another one here that's coming back nice and healthy, not looking like it's struggling with the heat at all. Oh, another one here. So better than we thought, I guess. We're gonna have some extra broccoli, even though our bean experiment failed. I might actually plant some herbs in here, so it's a little bit faster. I don't really want to plant beans again. We'll have the ones that we get. And the kale here is looking nice. As always, harvesting lots of kale. I love that. And I do have a big strawberry in there, which is nice. Oh, here we are. We have a little broccoli. I might harvest this tonight too, to cut it up and throw with the other stuff. So I'm gonna go in to get a basket, because as you can see here in this green stalk, we have a lot of more harvesting to do too. Look at these tomatoes. Look how many tomatoes I have in this plant. Isn't it nice? We're gonna get a separate basket for those. Oh, I have some dahlias in here too. I could show you guys in a gorgeous sunflower. Oh my God, I love this. I cut it from the plot the day I came back from vacation, and I regret it because now I just realized I can't save seed from it. It was the only one, and it's so beautiful and double, but it's all right. Here's the basket I want for the tomatoes. I decided to hang out my baskets here to make it easy, and made a little arrangement with some dahlias that I harvested earlier too. But guys, I'm glad I came inside so I can show you guys more varieties. This is the one that was a little old over there. Looks very nice, but I still have to do something with this. I just harvested it and haven't put it together in an arrangement yet. But now let's go get some of those tomatoes. After I harvest, I will show this green stalk too, which I haven't shown in the past garden tours. But we're gonna come up here and take a look how things are looking on this side as well. But now let's go down and get some of these guys over here. I honestly should probably harvest some of the cherry tomatoes too, so we're gonna do that after. Okay, so these ones here are called Purple Heart tomatoes. This is supposed to be a semi-dwarf, no, a dwarf semi-indeterminate tomato, but I have two plants in here and they grew very big for this green stalk. They look nice, a little split also, but it's alright. It always happens to me. And some of the years, you know, with the rains and everything, there's so much you can like control in here. But got another one. Just gonna harvest the ones that are blushing. So I usually like to harvest when they're at this stage. Probably said that in a previous video in the garden tour too. And the blushing, it's a lot firmer. See this guy here? Ah, so sad. It already has damage. So the thing when you know, I was just, maybe I was roughing out with this basket too much, but, and it got some dirt here from the other vegetables. So the thing about waiting for it to ripen the vine, some people say have better taste. I'm not sure. I think that when they're at that stage, they already have, you know, I've read that they locked all the sugars and flavors in it already, so just keep developing. But then when you harvest at this stage, it was nice and firm in there and beautiful, but then with a little bit of transportation, it just got all kind of messed up. I still eat it. I'll cut this off and wash it very well, because the soil in the plot could be contaminated. You know, we had some rodents in there, trying to be careful. But this is one of the reasons definitely that I prefer to harvest on this stage, not at this fully mature stage. So I'm not gonna put this guy in here too, just because, you know, it's kind of already suffering. So I'm gonna just move this in here. Now we're gonna move on to these guys real quick, just to leave all the tomatoes together. And I guess July for us, it is the best time for tomatoes. You know, in August things start getting a little, all the disease and the heat, more heat even, get a little bit wonky. So July is the time for us. I think it has been, at least when we had the good tomato years, for better harvest. So I'm curious to hear about you guys. I did plant this early, first week of May, so I know I got the harvest a little sooner than most people here in New York. But I'm curious to see how they do in your garden, and usually what's the best month for you. If you could share that in the comment section down below, I would really appreciate it, so we can all learn and let us know where you are. So not as many left, just a few more, and I don't have as much of the red ones as I have of these guys here. I harvest also this when they're orange. They're all gonna turn red like this. I do take them out when they're orange, just so, because they turn red so fast, and I might as well when I'm harvesting just like to harvest a bunch and leave it inside, ready to use when I come home. So here we go. Not too bad so far. I'm just gonna get the peppers and the green stalk. So many different varieties of peppers in here. If you're curious to know all about them, I will link a video also where I planted them, or better yet, when I started the seeds, because I was more detailed there when I was talking. So this plant seed is the same cherry pepper or pimento pepper that I grew in the plot, but in the green stalk it's a little smaller, which honestly I prefer it. Oh no, it got sun scald. Well, this happens when, you know, they get a lot of sun and they get a little bit burned, but it's okay too. You can just cut it off and eat it. But I'm sad. I wish didn't notice that. I should have inspected them a little earlier. And This here, I have been making a mistake with this pepper. I've been calling, the name is corbaci, and I've been saying in all the previous garden tours, and even when I did the seed planting, that this was Italian pepper. I was wrong. This is a Turkish pepper. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I thought it was Italian. I thought someone told me, and then I went to read it, and on the website that I bought it said this is Turkish. So this is a Turkish corbaci pepper, and this is fully ripe. It gets a beautiful, there's another plant here, beautiful orange in between ripening, which is cool. But I love the way it looks. It looks very cool. It's very mild, very, very mild pepper, like a sweet pepper. I've been cooking with it, but it starts green like this and then turns nice and orange and then like red. So it's kind of nice for interest too. And I ate it at all stages and they all taste good. So very mild pepper, not so much flavor. Not like the tropical peppers, they're very fruity, but it's still pretty good. Gonna put this in here. And my habaneros are finally ripe. That's very good because I think those have nice flavor, and they're hot too, so hopefully don't sting my hands. I accidentally broke the top of those. And I also have lots of this Scotch bonnet, these little mini ones, ready to go. Oh my god, I don't know if I'm gonna harvest them all. I'm planning to make hot sauce with them, but maybe they could stay in the plant for a couple more days. Look how much more is in there also. So I actually have time to work with all of these ones that I have. Planning to make salsa again with these tomatoes. So I have been making salsa at least once a week since the beginning of July. And it's very good to have fresh salsa. It's so easy and you can make so many things with it. I have made many other things with tomatoes because by mid-July I had this whole table full of tomatoes, and I am not canning them this year. I'm trying to eat them as much as I can fresh. And with these other veggies here too, I'm just now starting to get squash, which I'm kind of excited. I'm going to do some, try to use it up for the week too. So this is good. This is what I'm going to be eating through the weekend and hopefully through the week too. And that was it for this side. Down here I can see some more red peppers actually. Oops, and here this is a Tinker Togarashi also. They look so nice on the planter, but I know they need to be harvested. And then we're gonna go up there and take a look at how this little upper area of my backyard is looking. Not looking as nice. I've been slacking a bit in here, but that's alright. It's still worth it to take a look because we should see how everything is doing. So start here with these roses that was gifted to me by a friend. It's kind of called, it's a David Austin called Gabriel Oak, and smells wonderful. So I put in this little pot in here because I also didn't know, couldn't decide what I wanted to put it. I thought I didn't want to commit and put it in the ground already, so I put it in this pot, which is small for it, so I put in a bigger one. But it's sort of a temporary solution, but it's doing pretty good. I'm happy. It's giving a second flush of roses now and it's looking nice. And I planted some salvia, put some salvia right next to it after doing Chris' garden tour and visiting his garden and seeing how amazing his roses looked. So took his advice and planted some salvia next to it, and I love the color too. The pink and the purple together look very nice, and roses are looking healthy, so maybe that's working, so that's very nice. And then here in this green stalk, few things happening. I found a few caterpillars, which I can see is still here. You see, I think that's a baby swallowtail before it gets nice and more distinctive with the green pattern that we know. There was a bigger one in this other parsley. And I decided to leave it, and obviously the bees are loving this, bolted parsley. I decided to leave this in here like this, even though it doesn't look that great for the wildlife. The insects and the bees and the caterpillars, they're all loving this so much that I just feel bad taking it out, even though it doesn't look good. So this is there for them. And then after, when this is mature, I'll save seeds from this parsley and plant next year again. So I guess it's a win-win situation. Some herbs down here haven't been rotating this planter because this is kind of resting on this plant over here, not doing as good because they're shaded, but that's all right. The rosemary is still growing okay. I planted some lavender in here. That's kind of struggling. Oh, it smells so good, but it's a little spindly, but still growing, not completely dead yet, just taking a while. Have some more pansies in here. The shiso in here is doing good. Oh my god, that's so delicious. I love eating shiso. This is the leaf. If you go to Japanese restaurants, and sometimes, or they will come decorating a plate or with vegetarian sushi, and it's so tasty. I love the flavor of this. Very glad it's doing well in the garden. I tried growing the red shiso before, I guess perilla, but didn't really like the taste of this one. It's okay, but the taste of this is exactly what I remembered from the Japanese restaurants and from my time that I lived in Hawaii. I used to be a cook there, and the restaurants I worked at use a lot of this and creating dishes too, and I loved it, so I'm very happy it's doing well here. It's taking a little bit of space in the planter and shade in the bottom too, so the pockets in the bottom are not doing so great, but that's okay. And I decided to sow some new basil seeds in here. I actually just threw a little, let me see if I can find it. I had a little stem from last year. I was collecting seeds and I couldn't really take all the seeds out from this, and I just threw it in here and saw to see if some would fall, and here we are. We have tons of babies. I put it in here, this was here underneath. So I have tons of little basil. This is a Thai basil also. Even though I have more than I can possibly eat in the plot, I'm going to separate those and then fill out the empty pockets with them and let them be for the bees too. This green stock is going to be mostly for the insects now, you know, so for the bees and the butterflies and for the pollinators now. So that's gonna make it look a little nicer. Some of the nasturtiums here is struggling with the heat. They don't do very well here in the heat, and I really wish they did, because I like to use them for garnishing plates too. Hopefully when the weather cools down a bit, these guys are just gonna give a nice big new flush. Here on this side, what did I have here? I don't remember. Oh, the magnolia tendril that didn't do very good. I have tons of beans growing, so that's why I'm not even harvesting the beans at the plot. And I said that I'm not going to plant anymore in the green stock, because I threw a bunch of beans in here from when I was saving seed. I found a little container that I had a bunch of beans that were not labeled, so I was just like, I'll throw them in here and let them, I don't know, decompose in place. And sure enough, they just germinated. I don't even know what kind of beans they're going to be. It's going to be a surprise, but looks like they're climbing. There's a climber over here, so we'll see if they will do well in here. Pot's kind of crowded, but we'll see. You have some oregano going to flower in here, looking good as well. And I'm probably going to cut down the shiso, because at this time it's kind of like a weed in my garden, even though I don't really like that word, because I planted this 4 years ago and then it just keeps self-seeding in the garden every year. So I'm gonna probably cut this down, since I found out that I really don't like to eat. I do dry it and drink tea out of it to make use of it, but I much prefer having the green one now, so I'll let this one take over the garden. And that was it, you guys. This is it for the July garden tour. If you have any questions about anything, please put that in the comment section down below. As always, I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time.